Hi there, welcome to what's happening in Brazil. Let's start with the latest news from the country.
Federal Congressman Daniel Silveira, a supporter of President Jair Bolsonaro, was arrested the night of February 16th after a live stream on social media in which he attacked Supreme Court justices. During the stream, he called the judges bums, ignoble, and defended that they all be arrested. Daniel also said that he daydreamed about Justice Edson Fachin being beaten up on the streets on several occasions. In addition to these attacks, the congressman praised the military dictatorship and Constitutional Act No. 5, which was promulgated in 1968, shutting down the National Congress. While being arrested, Daniel disrespected a federal policewoman by refusing to put on a face mask. Daniel Silveira became known during the 2018 electoral campaign when he destroyed a street sign honoring Rio de Janeiro City Councilwoman Marielle Franco, who was murdered in March of that year. He is currently also being investigated for spreading fake news and taking part in anti-democracy protests. The last remaining man of the Indigenous Juma people died from COVID-19. The warrior Juma was between 87 and 90 years old when he died on February 17th. He started experiencing the first symptoms in January and had been on a ventilator since the 2nd of this month. The Juma people were the target of many massacres throughout history. The latest took place in 1964, sponsored by merchants seeking to obtain cashew nuts that existed in Juma land. More than 60 people were murdered. In the decades that followed, Aruca led the few survivors and obtained official demarcation for the Juma territory, which was homologated in 2004. The tribe began growing once more by intermarrying with other indigenous ethnicities. According to the most recent data from the Articulation of Indigenous Peoples of Brazil, there have been more than 48,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 966 deaths among the native population since the start of the pandemic.
Exclusion architecture. This is name given to the tactic that seeks to keep socially vulnerable people away from certain urban spaces like public squares, parks, and under bridges. In the city of São Paulo, it is easy to see many examples of this tactic being employed.
Fenced-off public squares, coverings, benches with section seats, as well as stones placed beneath bridges. These are but some of the urban planning techniques utilized to keep homeless people away from certain city spaces. The strategy made headlines in the beginning of February, when the coordinator of the homeless pastoral organization, Júlio Lancelotti, removed rocks placed under an overpass in the city of São Paulo with a sledgehammer. However, this tactic is far from being rare and even has a name: exclusion architecture.
It's a recurring tactic used by the authorities. For example, in many places, when they finish building a bridge, the first thing they do is to leave the edges slanted. It's a whole urban design concept aimed at making sure people cannot get comfortable. Comfortable in the sense of resting, as if they don't deserve to rest, since it's not even a privilege to lay down on a bench.
Representatives of the homeless movement say that the tactic seeks to remove vulnerable persons from the city center. The result is the worsening of a problem that is not tackled by the government.
They are trying to remove homeless people from the city center. They are committing genocide toward this population. Because of the shanty towns, those who live there are already unable to make ends meet, much less the homeless if taken there.
According to the last census done by the city of São Paulo, in January of last year, 24,000 people were living on the city's streets. The homeless movement, on the other hand, estimates that with the pandemic, the figure today is around 50,000 people.
You cannot discuss this reality without discussing the issue of housing. Why do people stay under the bridge? Because, in truth, they are seeking some sort of protection, and this is the bare minimum that a dwelling gives.
This year, there will be more sadness during the month of February in Brazil. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, Carnival had to be cancelled. Beyond being a celebration that increased tourism, Carnival is also a time of resistance and subversion. Learn more about the story behind this tradition.
Every country has an official celebration. For us Brazilians, the one that happens all over the country is Carnaval. It's a time of joy, freedom, and the switching of roles. The party has its origins in the Christian calendar's rites of passage. Carnaval happens 1 week before Lent, which is a time of discipline and fasting. For this reason, Carnaval became a time for celebrating the excesses of the body. In Brazil, Carnaval began being celebrated with a spontaneous street party called intrudo. Marginalized groups, mainly enslaved blacks, would go onto the streets to play and get other people dirty.
It's an inversion ritual. It flips society upside down, inside out, and you have the possibility of radical equality, human equality, not some political equality, the equality of partying, the possibility of being happy. So we are happy for 3 to 4 days, then go back to the harsh reality of life.
Considered too heavy for the elites, the street party started being censored and harshly repressed. That's when Carnival parades organized by authorities and luxurious balls in private clubs inspired by the French Carnaval started gaining ground. However, the desire to subvert the order persisted. In Salvador, the Bahia state capital, arose the Afoxés, groups that brought Afro-Brazilian culture out onto the streets to celebrate Carnaval. In the city of Recife, located in the state of Pernambuco, frevo was born. It's a tradition spawned by another censured practice, capoeira, which is a mixture of dancing and fighting created by enslaved blacks.
This is a political space, right? To really subvert things of resistance, because joy is really necessary. We need joy in order to survive, because of the way things are, right? So, that's what frevo is to me. This is a way in which we can organize in the face of all the oppression against black people, indigenous people, women, and all the LGBTQ plus folk.
A fascist can't stand laughter. There is nothing more serious in this world than fascist and Nazi rituals, totally synchronized that human mass working as gears of war. Carnival is the exact opposite. Evidently, I think this is marvelous.
And now it's time for Brazilianism.
E hoje, em lugar de uma receita, eu vou ensinar.
Today I won't be teaching you just one recipe, but two, one with cucumbers and another with scarlet eggplant. I will start by thinly slicing the cucumber. I remove the cucumber's tip and will slice it right onto this strainer, where I'll leave it marinating with a little bit of salt. The cucumber is already sliced. I'm gonna throw some salt on it so it can dry up, and leave it resting with this plate underneath to collect the liquid. For the sauce, I'll use vinegar, a little bit of water to water down the taste, and some sugar. It's gonna be a little sweet, but with the acidity of the vinegar. For the second salad, I'll be making a scarlet eggplant ceviche. I'm gonna cook the eggplant with the lemon's acidity. I'll cut the scarlet eggplant in half, remove the tip, and thinly slice it. I place the eggplant in the pot, red onion, now a little bit of parsley, now the pepper, all chopped up. Now I'm gonna season this salad. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon here, salt, and finish it up with olive oil. Let it marinate for around 20 minutes, and the scarlet eggplant is gonna be perfect. The cucumber is already soft, already released a lot of liquid onto the plate. It's ready to be added to the sauce. I'm going to squeeze it lightly in my hand to remove the excess liquid. It goes into the sauce all dried up. Now the sesame seeds to finish things off.
Liked the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We'll see you next week.